We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Daily Dish. My name is Candace Cooper. I'm your host, and we're here to talk about all things pop culture, conspiracy theory, astrology, astrocartography, everything. Everything. We're talking about everything. I honestly, I'm sick of fucking Vanderpump Rules. I don't fucking care. I've had fucking enough. Enough. If I were in charge of reality TV, I would make it so these people could not go on any podcast until after it was over and then talk about it. It has been, they blew their load too early. I don't want to fucking hear it anymore. And honestly, I don't even know if I've watched the latest episode of Summer House. I've been hearing chitter chatter about Amanda and Jesse being flirtatious. And I always thought that Kyle was very flirtatious with like Gabby and Sierra. And I felt like him and Paige even got like a little flirtatious this season. I don't know, when they were like sitting down at the bar and talking, how Amanda didn't have him on her camera roll and he was getting upset about it. That to me just was like, I don't know, too close for comfort, I feel. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't think that Amanda and Kyle are going to last. They do have so much of their lives, like wrapped up in each other, but I don't know. I just don't think that they're on the same page. Opposites do attract, so who the fuck really knows? I don't know. But it's been announced that Bethenny is no longer engaged to her ex-fiance, Paul. I knew this like 3 months ago because I am always just like Hawkeye. So I was like, is she wearing her ring? No. And she had started to wear a B ring. Remember, like, everyone loved like a script letter ring or necklace in like the 70s. It was giving 70s vibe. So we have Constance. Hi, Constance. What's going on? I could tell she wasn't wearing her engagement ring, which, to be perfectly honest with you, that ring it was so gigantic that it looked dull. Like, it didn't sparkle. I would prefer a smaller, more sparkly ring than the ring that Paul gave her. I don't know. Word on the street is she bought it herself. I mean, if that was like what she wanted and, he wasn't going to buy it for her, why not, buy it for yourself? A la Wendy Williams. Do we remember when she bought her engagement ring to her first fiance? She bought it herself. That's a bummer. And I just really feel Bethenny and her going through all of this stuff right now because I don't know her time of birth, but I do know that she has a Capricorn moon and a Scorpio sun. I have a ton of Scorpio in my chart, and I also am a Capricorn. So even though our lives are not exactly the same, there's a lot of similar threads that go through our lives. And also another person, I say this all the time, Khloe Kardashian, her and I both have very similar, we were born in 84 and we both have very similar kind of like arcs in our lives, both single for a really long time, both really having a hard time finding a man who values us. And every time we think we did find a good guy, it's a trick. So I feel so bad for Bethenny because it's like I feel this like cast that our lives are in, and it's so hard to break out of that cast. That's why it was great for me to have Marie Hickey on, who is the consciousness and subconscious mindset coach, you know, my thing is we're on this earth for our souls to experience certain things. Does that mean that we could conquer them in this lifetime? Marie says yes, through hypnosis and retraining our brain. And I say, maybe, I don't know. I'm not at the end of my life yet. Thank fucking God. I'm not ready to die. I still have so much stuff that I have to do. But I don't know yet. I've broken the mold on a lot of stuff in my life. It seems to be sticking in a few areas. And one thing about me is I am a woman of faith, okay? I believe in God. I don't believe in religion. And that was highlighted to me 2 weekends ago when I went to church. And the man in the choir was like grabbing on to the little girl and like touching her. And they were just like, I was like, why are we touching like this? I don't like this. It's like making my skin crawl. I'm looking around the church and not one fucking person is also like, I'm frantically looking around because I want to get up and say, why are you touching this little girl like that? It's making my fucking skin crawl. I'm trying to look around to see other people and they're all just like, hello. And I just like got up and left. I was like, this is not, and I went to Catholic school and I begged my mother to send me to Catholic school because I wanted to be where God was. I don't know about you, and I'm going to piss a lot of people off, all 100 people who watch this. I just can't get down with groupthink like that. And also I feel like everyone I know who goes to church all the time, I think to myself, you should, because you fucking need to go. You have some atoning to do. Whereas like the good people that I know don't ever go to church. Whatever. It's very hard for me to be a group thinker. It really is. I don't know why I got off on that tangent when we were talking about Bethenny, but that's how I feel about church breaking molds in our lives. I have broken so many molds in my life. There are a few that are sticking, and I just don't know if I use Bethenny as like the case study. I look at her, and this woman has broken every generational curse that was tried, that they tried to put on her, yet she cannot find love or lasting love. She has that lasting unconditional love with her daughter, but when in terms of like romantic love and a man, and now this is just something, I know, I can't help it, but like women who sparkle different or women who have something more important to contribute, I don't want to say that either. I don't want to say more important than just being a parent, because that is a tremendous responsibility, but that takes the kind of woman who doesn't need to be in the spotlight. And men love a woman who blends into the background. Men do not like women who are sparkly, are savvy, are smart, are in control. And if you want to survive as a woman in this world, you're probably better off being quiet and passive, and you'll get the rich husband and you'll get, all the spoils, but will you really feel fulfilled? Because don't forget, kids grow up and they move out. So you want to be very careful about building your entire identity around your children, because if you raise them healthily, they will grow up and they will move away. Or maybe you're all going to stay in the same area, but they're not going to live with you forever if you do a good job. What exactly are we talking about here? Am I joking? I'm not joking. But when I look at Bethenny, I see a woman who has conquered every single thing in her life and overcome so much. Because I don't think anybody really realizes how hard it is to achieve the level of success that she has achieved with all of the things that were thrown at her as a child. She could have become an alcoholic. She could have become a drug addict. She could have become a homeless person. Everything in her childhood was lining her up to not be great in life. She took it all and she used it as a catalyst to do great things in the world. Really, truly, be strong. Like, she does everything full force. But it's like, I look at her and I want her to be loved by a man who deserves her. And I just feel like it bums me out to see, like, yeah, as a woman, it's so difficult to be a personality and to be loved. Like, I think about Sonia, I think about Luann. You know, Ramona has left the show and she's started a quieter life in Florida. Now she has a man. Mario couldn't hang. He couldn't take it. So they broke up. So he knocked her down a peg, cheated on her with a younger woman in their fucking house. And she like walked into it. Do we remember that? Another thing is, like, I want to know more about Sonia's upbringing. I want to know more about Sonia's family, Sonia's life, like, as a kid. Only in one episode did she say that she got picked on in high school and she had to have like a little tussle with one of the girls. Now, I got mercilessly bullied in school, and the only time those bitches ever laid the fuck off was when I laid hands. So I'm not condoning starting a fight, but I am 100% condoning finishing the fight. It just bugs me. Yeah, so Bethenny had the episode about generational trauma. And we all know that we hold 14 generations of trauma in our bodies. And it's like this karmic fucking loop. We just keep coming back and back and back and back and back until we can solve that karma. For me, it's been so interesting because I recently had a conversation, or reached out to my godfather, my mom's brother, my uncle. And he's doing much better now. For a long time, he was struggling. And we were talking, and it was so crazy for me to listen to him because he was saying things that I have said. You know, I got really badly bullied in school, but I also was suffering a lot of really, really bad abuse at home. So I never felt like I had anywhere safe to run. With acting, being able to work and, you know, create art, make money as a little baby Capricorn gave me so much. So I'm very thankful for that. He did not have an outlet the way I did with acting. So he self-medicated in other ways. But he was saying things like, I got it in school and I got it at home. Thank God I never joined a cult. He was saying all of these things that were words that have come out of my mouth. And I thought to myself, whoa, how many other generations, and I haven't really had a relationship with my uncle or really anyone in my family. That's a story for a different day. For a long time, just because they just get into this crazy trauma loop. And no, like, I could like look at them or talk to them on the phone and think that I'm making headway. And then midway through the conversation, it's like the veil comes back on. I say their eyes glaze over, and it's just like they just start replaying this trauma loop over and over. It's like they say the same things over and over again. But when I was talking to my uncle, I was like, wow, those are things that I have said, thinking, wow, I wonder how many other generations have said those things. Now, another very interesting piece of information I acquired from talking to my uncle is that every generation picks a child in my family and focuses all of their demonic hatred on that one child, then triangulating all the other children, cousins, aunts, uncles, all of that stuff to hate that one child. Now, my uncle was one. My cousin Jessie was another target. I was a target, and I know for a fact that we were meant to be sacrifices in our family. Because anytime I did something great, it would set my one uncle, John, off like psychotic, like told me that I was a minion, like grotesque, hideous, gross things. And it's almost as if he feels like if I do well, his children won't be able to do well. And it was almost as if the way they treated my uncle Ron was that if he did well, my Uncle John would never be able to do well. That is such a fear-based thought process, and so sick and twisted and demonic, that families literally will. If Bethenny would have had a sister, I guarantee her life would have been so much more grotesque if she had a sibling. Because not only would it have been the abuse of her mom and her dad and, you know, the people that she was put around as a child, but then they would triangulate those children as well. You're never, like, my sister and I never had even the slightest opportunity, chance to have a relationship with each other at all. Because as soon as my mom had her, my mom, because she was traumatized at a young age, thinks like a 12-year-old. So my mom had this one daughter and this other daughter. And my mother felt that if my sister and I were close, we would have pushed her out. Never in my mom's mind did she see a world where me, her, and my sister were all very close. As soon as my mom had my sister, the torture began. You know, my mom would always say, it's just me and you, it's just me and you. And then she had my sister, which I was so excited and thrilled about because I literally prayed for a sister. I prayed for a brother. I prayed for a sibling. I really wanted a brother. Gave me a sister. But prayed for a sibling for so long, get her, and couldn't even have any sort of sisterly relationship with her because my mom immediately felt insecure because she was traumatized by her own upbringing and the dynamic in her own house. The more I analyze my family, it's violence, it's rage, not just anger, it's rage. It's just very dark, low level. And anyone in the family who was a tall poppy was instantly attacked. My uncle was literally the most beautiful child ever. And you would think beautiful child treated like gold. No, treated like a servant. Abuse, neglect, triangulation. Like, anyone who is going to use your weaknesses against you, don't ever. And I was just like a little fly on the wall, just like watching my grandmother call up one kid, hang up, call the other kid, tell them what the other kid was saying, like so sick and fucked up. And that's called stirring the pot, you know? And that's why nobody talks, because everybody is so like, I learned at a very young age, not knowing what I was identifying. Narcissists are made, they are not born. And a narcissist is just an adult who is a big wounded child who like never got acknowledged. Oh, little Johnny is great at, did great at the science fair. Little Stevie is, an excellent soccer player. No. Wounded adults who have children see their children's talent and they shit all over it. And as a little kid, you're just like, love me, love me, love me, accept me. Aren't I good at this? Isn't this great? And the adult, who's the narcissist, looks at you and is like, who the fuck do you think you are? Nobody gave me praise. In a sick, fucked up way, this is their opportunity to feel that power that their adults had now to somebody else. If they're evolved, they go to therapy, they work through those feelings, they do things as an adult where they feel like they could get praise and it's structured and it's healthy. But an unhealed inner child, wounded inner child, is just going to grow up and use those opportunities to show compassion. They're going to use them to show cruelty and immaturity and manipulation. My neck. So, Bethenny, be fucking thrilled that you don't have siblings, because that torture just gets multiplied. And if you're the target, then the whole family has to join in and target that one person for the narcissist, the sociopath, the psychopath, to be appeased, to be, oh, we have to tiptoe around them. Oh, we have to do. So Bethenny, please just be fucking thankful you don't have siblings, because now it's just you as your own worst enemy. You don't have fucking 3 other siblings, 2 other siblings, 1 other sibling to torture you in your mother and father's passing. So, like, I know it's fucked up, but be thankful. Her mother used to say to her, and this is crazy because I got told my entire childhood that it was my fault that my mother had to ruin another man's marriage because my great-grandmother wouldn't babysit me anymore unless my mother married a guy who was already married. He's already fucking married. Has a daughter and a wife. Like, this is why I'm so frigid towards men. Like, do not come knocking at my door if you have a small child. And, like, you need to go be alone and take care of that fucking child. You do not need to be on Bumble or Hinge or Tinder. You need to be paying your child support. Like, but the fact that my mother was pressured into being in a relationship with a man who had a whole fucking family and then blaming it on me, like, that's what Bethenny's mother used to do. And that, I will say that is a sign of the times. Like, women weren't even able to get credit cards until like 1974. So, women really were programmed, you find a man and that is who's going to pay your bills. Well, that's fucked up. I mean, yes, I get it, but this is why nobody's having children anymore, because we're all fucking traumatized, okay? Like, all of our parents had us without fucking thinking, without, like, considering the consequences, the responsibility, and, like, and then we were told our whole lives that we ruined their life. Bro, back up. This is why we're all childless. Like, I'm good. I am fucking good. Is my tooth okay? She went through a lot of sexual trauma. Poor Bethenny. I know. I get it. I really do. When you're having children and you have nobody to watch them, or you have to go to work, you're just leaving your kids with whoever. And I don't leave my dog with anyone. If I had a child, it would be Mach 5. Like, my kid would be going nowhere. I just would feel so bad. Like, I wouldn't want to inflict my paranoia on a child because I know what this world is like. I know what I went through. I know what I've had to like claw my way through. And yes, I'm savvy and I'm strong and I'm resilient, but I know everything that went into making me that way. And it's been pure hell, pure torture. Lung cancer and grief. So Bethenny's mom ended up dying of lung cancer, and lung cancer in general, I just feel like is energy trapped in the body. Our body is constantly fighting off cancer cells, constantly. The power of the mind, the power of, and yes, pollution, other things we inject into our bodies are all big contributors to getting that. But when I look at somebody like Bethenny's mom, or my grandfather even, who died of COPD and had Parkinson's, yeah, that's grief. Grief over making horrible, horrible, horrible choices in your life. Like, when I think about my grandfather, I think about what a life wasted. Like, never was close with anyone, never was, like, I could just tell he hated his life and and clearly his lung collapsed so many times. Like, that is grief. And he, like, wasn't a grandpa. He was a grandpa, like, but he wasn't, like, there were a few times in my life when we, like, went to Tice's farm and we would go to Cheesecake Factory or whatever, or, like, the diner, the Coach House on Route 4, and, you know, get cheesecake or whatever. But that was it. It was never like I could depend on him or felt strong, like a strong male presence. And even my uncle, who's gay, said, all the men in our family are like women. And I'm like, yeah, you included, bro. Like you weren't a protector either. Every single man in my family is like a woman, and every single woman in my family is like a man. And I don't like that. So it is what it is. But I just look at my grandfather. I just look at everyone in my family. Like, what a wasted opportunity to have such a wonderful life. And when I think about my grandmother's sisters and their families, all of their families are very close. It's my grandmother and her children who fucking hate each other and are psychos and addicts and gamblers and compulsive spenders. Like, so it's very, very interesting. But it seems to be my grandmother's children, not her sisters. All of the other sisters, their families love each other, but not my grandmother's family or her kids. So interesting. Very, very interesting. Grief. But yeah, when my grandfather died of COPD, I was like, yeah, duh. Like, that's, your lungs are grief, bro. This is actually making me pretty happy. Nobody gives a shit about the Met Gala. That's it. Pluto in Aquarius. This is the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. It is. And I have an MC in Aquarius, and I'm just so ready for this energy. The blockouts on TikTok, on Instagram. I have blocked every fucking one of their stupid little companies. Skims, Good American, Kylie Cosmetics, like just all of them. The fucking barkers, the everything. The stuff with Diddy going on. The stuff with J-Lo going on. It is, when I lived in Hollywood in 2005, okay, to 2006 and then 2008, I just remember thinking to myself, this is pure hell on earth. These people are so fucking far out of touch, and they live in a world that the rest of humanity, not just America, but humanity, couldn't even, the opulence, the privilege, the everything being just handed and catered to. It is wild. And I just remember thinking to myself, no, there's no way that I could live in LA and keep a clean soul, right? I just knew that they were gunning for control. They wanted me. That's why it was so hard for me to be an actor, really, in the end, because they really want you to be a vessel for their opinion. That is impossible for me, okay? Like, it just, I cannot be a vessel. We have a question, ask a question. But I could not be a vessel for their opinion. I have my own fucking opinions. So there was just never, it was just not going to happen for me. I had to leave. I had to go back to Brooklyn. But Brooklyn is a bunch of kids from the Midwest whose parents are fucking loaded, and they go to Brooklyn or Queens and they don't shower for weeks at a time, and they wear flannel and they have dirty hair, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so real. It's like, bro, your parents own like 12 buildings. Please shut the fuck up. There's nothing struggling about you. You're full of shit. What should you do if you're being bullied? Well, this is such a loaded question. What you should do is, well, what degree of bullying is it? Are they attacking you? Have they physically come after you? Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Do not fall for it if they suddenly say, come over, let's hang out. Why don't you meet me in the woods? Let's go drink. No, they're setting you up to hurt you physically. These people, like the girls in high school would always try to lure me to the woods. One girl was like, oh, can I borrow your shoes? And I was like, no, but they wanted me in the woods. They did end up jumping me, but that's a different story. They say mean things about you behind your back. Well, this is one thing you have to get comfortable doing. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Read Lord of the Flies. All school is a testing ground for the weakest link. So they want to see if you're going to cry, if you're going to crack, if you're going to cower. You have to walk with your head held high, and you have to be very, very sure of yourself. Even if the entire fucking school hates you, you have to love yourself. I feel like high school is like a demon breeding ground, and they try to like kill off the kids that we need on earth the most by torturing them. What if they are fat shaming you? Ooh, 7th grade was absolutely brutal and horrendous for me. And I definitely got fat shamed. I did an Oreo cookie commercial. They told me I was so fat, I probably fell through the Oreo cookie. Here's the thing. If you're fat, then get in shape. Go for a walk. Do crunches, do sit-ups. Like, I'm telling you right now, middle school and high school and elementary school, but middle school and high school, they're looking for the weakest link. And if they see you take control of your life and get super fit and you just ignore them, if I could go back to my younger self, I did a pretty good job of it, but I wouldn't have gone to New York City so much as a teenager and, drank and like got bad tattoos. But stay to your fucking self, okay? And just remember, evil people, they only come after those that shine the brightest. So there probably is something really interesting or cool about you, and they don't know how to process that because there's not really anything cool or awesome about them, so they attack you. But if you're fluffy in 7th grade, know that sometimes you have to grow out to grow up, right? So I feel like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, it's okay to be a little fluffy because you're still growing. You're still, like your body is still growing. So you need to be a little fat so that way you could grow. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're a little chunky right now. It is what it is. 5'7" is pretty tall for 6th grade. 5'7", yeah, 5'7" is pretty tall for 6th grade. Read Lord of the Flies, start working out. Like I said, they always thought I was the weakest link because it would hurt my feelings. But then when I started to actually stick up for myself and finish the fights that they would start with me, it was like the parting of the sea. I would walk down the hallway and people would literally part so I could walk through. Whereas 2 years prior, they were jumping me. And what if you're really skinny, like 66 pounds? Then you start lifting weights. If you're able to, if your doctor, if the school nurse or whatever says that you're able to lift weights and you want to bulk up, look into protein, get into fitness, get into nutrition. At that age, all of our bodies are changing, they're growing, they're morphing. So what you are in 7th grade is not going to be what you are at 22 years old. But the one thing that I could say is don't ever internalize whatever they're saying to you in a negative way. Take it and transmute it into something that's going to push you to being a better, stronger, smarter, more well-rested, focused version of yourself. You're not allowed to lift weights. Really? Why? What happened? If you're not allowed to lift weights? Can you do like push-ups? Can you do squats? Can you focus on protein intake? Like that's where I would focus. When I was like really being badly bullied, I would have my grandmother drop me off at the library and I would check out books on skincare, aging, eating disorders, and I would just like put the pieces together myself. You have strict parents. Well, I don't know why a strict parent would say no working out. That's crazy. If they let you join maybe like a team, I don't know if you're a boy or a girl or whatever, softball, baseball, tennis, lacrosse, I don't know what that means. No, that is the peace sign. And I think you're supposed to put jewelry on it. But yeah, I mean, I had really strict parents. Like I wouldn't say my mother was strict. She was oppressive. So I used to love to go for walks when I was a kid, and she would literally like call the cops on me. It was so weird and bizarre. So I do very much understand that. And it really just made me traumatized and go within. But now I'm a 40-year-old woman and I could go on as many fucking walks as I want. You just have to wait it out. You just have to wait it out. You could be out of your house at 18 years old and then you could go and lift as many weights as you want, eat as much fucking protein as you want, join as many sports as you want. But just get into astrology, figure out how to read your astrological birth chart, and you'll understand why you were born into a family with strict parents. When I got into astrology, because I was like, I just don't fit into the place that I grew up. What is wrong with me? Nothing was wrong with me. I just wasn't meant to live in a small town in New Jersey for the rest of my life, because I had like other cool things that I was supposed to do and explore. And I'm not saying that it's easy. Like, I've had to walk this road alone, but it is the most gratifying. And like, go to an ashram. My ashram happens to be in Arizona. But there's nothing wrong with taking years to yourself to study, to be quiet, to exercise, to meditate, to heal. 18 is freedom. Exactly. I don't know any soccer teams. I don't know. Okay, so female. And how do I do my makeup? I don't wear a lot of makeup. I gotta be honest with you. I wear super, super simple makeup. I haven't been wearing any mascara anymore either. I feel like, okay, soccer team, I don't know, Manchester? That's like the only soccer team that I know. But yeah, it's very, very difficult being a female, because it's a scary world. But the one thing that I could say is fitness has saved my life. Vitamins have saved my life. Everyone around me was getting Botox and boob jobs and liposuction, and I didn't ever do any of that. I didn't even have fucking braces on my teeth. And I almost slipped into having an eating disorder in high school, but like I said, I checked out a book of the library and I read the book and I understood why I was leaning towards that. I was feeling out of control. But once I was able to separate myself from my family and get away from them, I'm telling you, like 99% of my issues completely disappeared. Liverpool, Liverpool, not Manchester. But that's really what it is. Custody ended up getting taken away from my mom when I was 15. So I went to live with my grandmother from 15 to like 17 and a half, 18. And then I ended up moving out of there and healing so much more. Don't have bad thoughts. I mean, have the bad thoughts. If you got to have them, just flesh them out and learn how to, I say this all the time, focus them into something positive. Whether it be going to the library, whether it be joining a book club, whether it be any way that you could get out of your house and into an environment that's going to allow you to stretch your brain, that's the way to go. So I'm so happy that your friend saved your life. That's amazing. That's super amazing. You're very lucky to have people like that in your life. But yeah, it's been quite a few weeks, I would say, on the personal front for me. On the pop culture front, we saw Bella Hadid. She's left the industry and she's moved to Texas to have a normal life with her boyfriend. She said that this is the first time in her life that she could just relax and, you know, do something that's for her. And I completely understand why she thinks that way, because I fought so hard for so long to be a successful model and actor. Then when you get it, it's such a tremendous responsibility that you're like caught off guard, and your agents and your managers and everyone is telling you you have to take these jobs while they're here because they could disappear tomorrow, and you could step away for 5 minutes and they're gone. So they put this panic in you to stick with it and say yes to every job, which leads to burnout. So Bella Hadid, she did the right thing by choosing herself, stepping away. Thankfully, she's from an incredibly influential family in Hollywood and LA. She'll be fine if she ever decides to go back into modeling. It's probably not going to be a big deal for her. However, if you're just an average person who broke through into the industry and now you're just like, I'm exhausted, I want to step back, I understand. They will forget about you instantly. Sorry. How should you convince your parents to buy you a puppy? Well, let me just say, animals are a tremendous responsibility, and some dogs can live to 20 years old. So just know what you're getting into. I would say start with fostering if you can, or volunteering at an animal shelter just to see if it's something that you would want to wake up and do. I walk my dog 4 times a day, and he's got tinctures and vitamins and bone broth and bee pollen and yogurt and sardines, and he's got all of these different things. He's 14 years old, he'll be 15. My Jack Russell lived to 20 years old in 10 months, so it is a tremendous responsibility. My suggestion is prove to your parents that you could do it by volunteering. I'm not sure where you're from or where you live, but PetSmart or Petco or a chain pet store, they have places where you could go volunteer, walk the dogs, play with them a few times a week. That could be a great way to introduce yourself to owning an animal, because it is a crazy, crazy responsibility. We have some other topics, but I'm not gonna drone on for too long, or too long rather. I could literally talk forever because I have a Gemini rising and I love to talk. You live in Canada, so I'm sure Canada has tons of pet stores that you're able to volunteer at. So warm your parents up by showing them that you're responsible and you are consistent. And that could also be a wonderful way just to connect with people who like the things that you like: animals, cats, dogs, guinea pigs, birds, whatever. And Cooper lives in Florida. All right. Crazy Florida. We love you, Florida. Shout out, Florida. But there are so many different ways. But yes, to anyone who is feeling like totally hopeless right now, and you are getting it at school and you're getting it at home and you're not being loved or appreciated or acknowledged, just remember, don't do drugs. Do not drink alcohol. Alcohol is the fucking devil. Drugs are the devil. Don't hang out with people in high school who have been mean to you for a really long time and then suddenly out of nowhere want you to come with them to Six Flags or on a trip. Or no, we're not fucking trusting them. Okay, we're not going anywhere, because what they're trying to do is lure you someplace, and we're not going to be trusting them. Okay. No getting boyfriends. No. If I'm speaking to my younger self, we're not getting a boyfriend until we're 21. Okay? No boyfriend. Go volunteer. Go do some sit-ups and crunches, okay, and push-ups. There will be no boyfriends. I hate to say this, but guys, no. Girls, we're focusing on our health, our mental health, our inner and outer health, the health of our environment, cleanliness, natural remedies, vitamins. So we're not focusing on boys. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Daily Dish with me, Candace Cooper. I'll be back this week. We'll talk some more. I hope this helped. And just remember that we're all processing this generational entanglement, trauma, triumphs, but we could break the chain. We're reprogramming our consciousness. We're accepting the things that we can't change, like Bethenny. She just can't seem to find a guy right now, but I feel like she's going to have love in her life and at some point. Oh, a best friend. Best friends you're going to find in the places that you are your best self. So if you want to be a lifeguard for the summer, go and take a lifeguard class. And who knows, you might sit next to someone and they might end up being your best friend. You both love swimming. You both love being outside. You both love helping people. If you love tennis or if you love golf or whatever it is, join things, even if you don't have a friend to join them with, just join them and you might walk in and find like your best friend forever. So that's it. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you on the next Daily Dish. Bye, guys.